Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Creative Wordsmithing, where we're going to be looking at Douglas Adams' writing style. In my ebook, Creative Wordsmithing, I write a lot about a method I've devised to examine fiction writing. I called it the 4 elements: thought, action, dialogue, and setting. For short, I'm just going to start calling it TADS. Here I'm going to be using it to analyze The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. Adams was a modern master of humor writing, second only to P.G. Wodehouse, who he drew a lot of inspiration from. So let's see what we can find out about humor writing once we run H2G2 over there through the TADS system. Okay, so I managed to track down a copy of about the first 10 pages of H2G2 online. I took the text and loaded it into Word, where I categorized phrases according to the TADS system. Some of these phrases are subject to interpretation, maybe they achieve an action or a description simultaneously, and I encourage you to try this yourself, either with H2G2 or another book of your choice. Still, changing the categorizations of phrases here and there is not going to disrupt the clear patterns that are present in the results of this analysis. To clarify, the color coding key I am using is this: purple for character, thoughts, perceptions, red for actions, blue for dialogue, and yellow for setting or descriptions of the external environment. And I've chosen to categorize all physical descriptions of characters as setting. Okay, so if we look at the very first pages of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, how the categorizations break up in here, it starts off with a lot of setting, moves on to a lot of thought. We're kind of trapped in Arthur Dent's head. And it's pretty clear that thoughts are what are driving this part of the scene. But he's breaking it up with setting. Kind of there's a lurking punchline here. The yellow keeps poking up. And he's also breaking it up with a lot of action. And when he does this, he slows everything down almost in real time so that he can get that comedic timing that he needs. He needs it to be slow because this character, Arthur, is coming to a very slow realization. So it's clear that thought is the element driving this part of the scene, but it's being broken up with setting and action to improve the comedic timing. The character is coming to a slow realization. The inclusion of the other two elements at a high frequency makes this short event drag out almost in real time. The next thing that I think is worthy of note is that longer lines of dialogue are usually broken up with action. This is similar to the blocking in a play. It is essential to comedic timing. So he says something and then he does an action to go along with it. Okay, the next thing, this paragraph represents the thoughts of the narrator, who, as he gains more of a presence, becomes a character in the story himself. So anytime you have like a sort of tangent that Douglas Adams goes off on, this is about, bypasses and people wanting to go to point A, B, and C. There's a lot of personality in this, but it's coming straight from the narrator, not a particular character in the scene. Okay, here we have a rapid fire back and forth banter dialogue. And there's nothing else in here, it's just dialogue, it's all blue. So, rapid fire dialogue, meant for banter, short lines quickly shooting back and forth. These exchanges are usually short. They don't go on for pages. And then he breaks it up with just a cloud passing overhead. And then a simple action too to kind of break it up. Mr. Prosser frowns, and then he's back into the dialogue again. So here we have another section where the narrator's kind of going off on a telling binge. And these sections of telling are full of the narrator's personality, and they do not take place in the current scene with the bulldozer. I've chosen to categorize them as thoughts because they're the thoughts of the narrator. Okay, looking here, since there's an exchange of dialogue, this seems to act as a very brief flashback. Okay, so here we have a sort of telling moment where we're describing Ford Prefect, and here we sort of break into a flashback with actual dialogue and action. And then after all of this, and the telling and the telling and the telling about his personality, then we're back into the scene with the bulldozer. The earth moves slowly. There we go. Now it's bringing us back. The sun was beginning to dry out. Okay, so moving further down. Yes, we have more asides. Yes, we have more dialogue, more banter. Okay, so here we have a really good example of how characters can say one thing but think another. Literally, Mr. Prosser is saying the exact opposite of what he is thinking here. And when we're color coding text like this technique really sticks out. Okay, and some more banter, some more aside, some more banter, and then we're done. That's the first chapter. So that's what I found using TADS on The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I really wanted to use more recently published examples of novels in the ebook version of Creative Wordsmithing, but my lawyer advised me to buy a motorcycle instead. I'm pretty sure I'm on good legal standing doing these in little videos though, so I plan to make a couple more on different genres just to show you what kind of different patterns the system can reveal. For more information and a clear understanding of how this technique works, check out Creative Wordsmithing on Kindle and Nook. Moxie, where did your head go?